We will start.
Okay, gloom. Gloom is a psychic state, a state of feeling and of unsatisfied desires. It is not a state created in the present but comes from the past. It was there created by brooding over unsuccessful attempts to satisfy a desire without understanding the reason for the lack of success. A person busy with attempts to satisfy an appetite has no chance to brood. No matter what other troubles he will get into, if he keeps busy, he will keep away gloom. So mostly the gloom happens because brooding on the past. At any period in the present, when he is disappointed or depressed by acts or events, his gloom comes over him and envelops him. Gloom overtakes a person in cyclic periods. If he welcomes it, broods over the present, and feels dissatisfied, that feeling feeds and adds to the gloom, which becomes ever deeper and its cycle more frequent. Finally,
Interesting.
gloom is all
Very much in line with what we were reading.
correct because it adds more and more,
Yeah.
and it becomes a cycle. Finally, gloom is always with him. Some people may even enjoy it as a steady companion, but this cannot last. The accumulation of gloom and an undefined, indistinct feeling will lead to a tangible and definite despondency and despair. The cure of the cure for gloom is resolution and action. Desire cannot be satisfied or put down or killed, but it can be changed. It can be changed only by thinking. The best way to dissipate gloom is to inquire into it and try to see how and why it came. This very inquiry will tend to drive it away, and it is at once weakened by resolution and action. At each return, at each return of the gloom, its force will be lessened if it is so met. Finally, this treatment will dissipate it.
Okay.
Means
Yeah.
when you inquire into it, what's happening, why this is occurring.
One
So
more.
that will,
Okay. See, one important message here is because we have gone past this and we have come back to it, right? Because we are in the noetic destiny, right? And we are again reading the psychic destiny. So, what it
yes.
means is after the desire has come up to the heart, that means the anahata, where we are releasing it, subject to our understanding of rightness and reason, or the greed within us.
Mm,
We are releasing it as a thought.
mm,
That is going up to the noetic plane, getting the clarity, coming down with that clarity into the mental plane, where it is becoming a solidification. You are freezing um, the shape, etc. As you are doing that, it is coming into the psychic domain, right? And it is
yeah.
moving to the physical. So we need to equip ourselves to handle it at the light stage, which is wisdom, or at the thought stage before it is getting actualized. That is what is meaning in terms of it can be changed. So you have all those, and we need to probably understand and freeze the process
Yeah,
much
but she
before.
says
Yeah,
it can be changed by inquiring into it.
correct. So that is what
Yeah.
the thinking. Thinking is nothing but allowing light to come down, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
light which is in noetic or in mental plane, that means you need to utilize that to throw light upon the impact of the emotion which is in the psychic plane before it gets, before it influences.
And also here inquiry, and try to see how and why it came means the
Hmm,
reasoning.
correct.
You
But,
need to use
but
reason.
reasoning is either in the mental plane. It is only in the mental plane. Clarity of what it is in the noetic plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
So
psychic
once
plane
we
is where the reason and rightness, they get into
yeah,
a tug of war.
yes. See, once we have the clarity there,
Hmm,
then in destiny the clarity will be there.
correct. The next is pessimism, another quality which can sit in the astral plane, and depending upon its potency, it can cloud the mental plane.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
See, that is why um, this is very important. How you think, it makes the same thing. You are creating pessimism. Pessimism, though a state of the feelings, is more mental in its nature than gloom. So it
Hmm,
is more mental. Other one is psychic in nature than gloom. Pessimism results from thinking to satisfy desires. When the doer in the body discovers that the desires cannot be satisfied, the discovery reacts on it and produces a psychic state of dissatisfaction.
hmm,
Everything is then met by the doer in the body as an illusion of the senses and a delusion of itself. So
hmm.
that affects the body. You know,
I think
the doer sees,
our equation of disappointment is equal to expectations minus reality, transformed into neuropeptides in the body, right?
mm,
The chemical reactions is what pessimism stands for. Because you have already corrupted the body by making it addicted to this quality, which is stemming from your belief system.
yes, and also yeah, when they don't have that wisdom, it is okay, not to get this desire satisfied. Then he doesn't get that pessimistic feeling.
Correct.
The doer seeks happiness, but it cannot attain to happiness through the gratification of its feelings and desires, and cannot realize the futility of trying to do so.
Mm,
So that's because the doer is seeking happiness.
mm,
Its dissatisfaction with itself and the world and the expectation of the worst in every situation comes from this failure of the doer to get what will satisfy its feelings and desires, and from its not knowing that desires must be changed.
mm,
It is subjected to a continuous urge without having the means of satisfying it, and therefore it feels that everything is wrong. Pessimism may be overcome by refusing to entertain gloom, despondency, and malice, and by seeing when it can be seen, and that is very often cheer, hope, generosity, and goodwill in the world.
mm,
See, if you overcome, pessimism may be overcome by refusing to entertain gloom, despondency, and malice, and by seeing when it can be seen that is very often cheer, hope, generosity, and goodwill in the world. So
mm,
it can overcome by all this. Pessimism is driven out when one is able to feel himself in the hearts of others and others in his own heart. This is what in Bhagavad Gita, it says Sarva Bhutatma, see me, as a friend, then one will soon discover that all things are not running unto ultimate doom, but that there is a bright and glorious future for the doers in human beings. Malice. Malice is a state of the doer in which, without provocation, it desires harm to another or to people in general. So it desires harm to another because to their enemies or some. Okay. The malice in revenge, jealousy, envy, and anger is not referred to here. There are people who rejoice at the loss or injury that befalls others, and who delight in doing harm and causing pain, injury, or loss. This general state comes on by continual indulgence in anger, envy, jealousy, hatred, and revenge. From the temporary outbursts of these passions, the doer gradually becomes the channel through which malignant creatures opposed to humanity work. Then such a man will himself be cut off from the light of his intelligence and become a human aligned with evil forces against other human beings. If the man has this malice quality, he is cut off from the light of intelligence and then aligned with the evil forces.
No, that is because that is the cloud through which he is thinking.
Yeah, correct. Because he is always thinking the harm to his people. I mean, his enemies or whoever the other people. This destiny can be prevented by checking the continual indulgence in anger and the other outbursts of passion. This is not saying that a man should not be angry under provocation, but refers to giving a way to burst of malignant passion. Besides checking the outburst, he should put himself in others' place and try to be just after having ascertained all the facts. Very often, he himself is to blame. He should try to have a feeling of forbearance and goodwill. That means patience. Fear, despair. Fear is a state of doer due to its ignorance and to wrong acts done. Fear is the feeling of impending disaster. The ignorance relates to the uncertainty of time and place when the misfortune will come and what the thing that is to come will be. By fear is not meant the anxiety of going to a surgeon or of walking across a high trestle or of losing a sum of money, but it is a state of constant dread during certain periods of some unknown disaster. It is vague, harrowing oppression, a shrinking and drawing back, a feeling as a guilt, though there is apparently nothing of which one is guilty. Sometimes the dread is definite, as of imprisonment becoming a pauper blindness. These feelings are psychic results of exteriorizations of past thoughts, namely, a feeling of the unbalanced remnants, which must be balanced at the conjunction of time, condition, and place. So these feelings are psychic results of the past thoughts.
Correct.
Unbalanced thought cycle in the mental atmosphere and at times affect the psychic atmosphere outside of the body. The human may feel the thoughts cycling in a general way, and when there is a coincidence of cycles which will allow a manifestation, the feeling becomes more pronounced and special and is experienced as fear, which itself may be the means of drawing on the disaster. This feeling is a retribution for sins committed and offers in every case an opportunity to balance some of the exteriorizations and to atone for the sins. So this feeling is retribution for sins committed and offers in every case an opportunity to balance some of the exteriorizations and to atone for the sins. If the doer shrinks from the apprehended disaster, wants to run away and refuses to meet it, it may escape for a time. It cannot escape forever because The sins go with it as they are a part of it.
Hmm.
If it continues to run away, it will be overtaken by the disaster as an actual physical punishment. Uh-huh. When stricken by disgrace, disease, imprisonment, or loss of fortune, the doer is less likely to balance and the tendency is to commit other sins. If the doer does not run away from the indistinct apprehension of some disaster or from the fear of some definite calamity, it has an opportunity to change the desire that helped to conceive or entertain the thought that has to be balanced.
Hmm. So despair is because of unbalanced thought. Hmm.
That's correct.
Yeah, we need to continue.
If it continues to run away, it will
No,
be
no, no.
overtaken by
That's done.
oh,
You're
here.
done up to here. All of the doers.
And all the doer need or can do is to feel that it wants to do right and is willing to do or to suffer whatever is necessary to that end. So all the doer needs to do or can do is to feel that it wants to do the
So
right and is willing to
strengthen his rightness and reason. That's what it means.
do or to suffer whatever is necessary. That means he is ready to learn the lesson,
Correct.
accepting. Suffer whatever is necessary to that end. When the doer gets itself into that feeling, it has strength. Strength comes to it. If it holds
Has
that
strength
feeling
or
of
strength comes to it. That's what he's saying.
yeah, he has strength and strength comes to it. If it holds that feeling of strength, it will be able to go through any disaster. The duty of the present moment will be the means of precipitating the seeming disaster, or a new duty will be made clear to the human, though it may not be clear to anyone else. So
Hmm.
that means by accepting it, he gets the strength to face it.
Correct. One is that, or he gets more clarity because he may be fearing something, but he just takes one step forward and realizes that there is nothing to fear.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because either way he has to face it, the fear
Correct.
makes it worse.
Correct.
Performance of his duty enables the human to defeat fear and throw off dread because he has performed his part towards balancing the thought, the cycling of which was felt as a fear. The performance of his duty, yeah, he defeats the because when he faces it and performs his duty, then he can overcome the fear. Despair is the ultimate state of fear when the doer has not balanced the part of it had in issuing a thought. Despair is giving up to fear without further effort to overcome or escape it.
So despair means you are surrendered to fear.
Yeah, surrendering to fear. Correct.
Hope.
Hope. Hope, which is concerned chiefly with feelings and desires, is born with the doer and is its companion. It is like a flash or reminiscence from the unmanifested. Hope is one of the great things in the experiences of the doer. It is linked with intelligence and with ignorance. This is one of the mysterious things about hope. So it is connected with both intelligence and ignorance. It connects the unmanifested with the manifested. It is that which does not change when substance manifests in a primordial unit, nor does it change during all the changes of the unit, nor even after it becomes part of the doer in a human. So it does not change. The doer in the human is the first stage in which it may be perceived and where it can be felt as a state. It, it is in the intelligence also and affects it. In the human, it is a foretaste of conscious immortality. I hope it is okay. So it is in the intelligence also and affects it. In the human, it is a foretaste of a conscious immortality. When the doer tries to grasp it, it disappears, but it soon reappears, and then the human chases after it. It is often accused of deceiving because the thing on which it seemed to rest has failed the human. This is not the fault of hope, but of the human who must learn that he cannot depend upon things of sense. So he has to learn lesson saying that he cannot depend upon the sensory pleasures or things of sense.
No. Anything that you sense
Yeah.
may be complete or incomplete. That is the point that is coming out here. When we try to
Hope remains
sense something, yeah.
Hope remains with the doer to teach it this through all its lives in joy or sorrow, ease or discontent. So it performs a mighty function. Hope is undying. As soon as the doer has failed to learn and is sunk in the slough of despondency and gloom, hope comes again and, like a beam of light, leads the doer out. Leads the doer out if the doer will follow. Without hope, the human could not remain human. When the human is exhausted by grief or remorse, covered with the shame and abandoned by the world, hope glimmers and brightness into a ray of light. This is what happened to conversations with the God writer.
Correct.
The doer in its darkest hours looks for hope. While it looks for hope, it cannot fail altogether. Hope cannot save the human, but it shows the way by which one can save himself and earn his conscious immortality. See, this is how he lost. That is what's his name? I forgot the conversations. Very well, like he was in such a despondence. I mean, he loses everything, um, and then God, I mean, when he keeps asking the questions to God, why me? Why all these things happen? Are happening to me, and then that's he gets answers. He starts writing.
Mm.
That is hope. He never gave up the hope. Hope cannot give the doer wisdom or knowledge. It cannot give
No, I
anything.
think we need to. Did we do this? We did that. This one? Hope cannot save the human. Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, no,
Hope is
right.
undying.
Yeah.
Did I do that? Hope is
Yeah, we
undying. I
did.
did not do.
Yeah, I think we
Oh,
did.
we did.
We did
Yeah,
it
immortality. Correct.
because this is where we stopped. Hope cannot save the human, but it shows the way by which one
Correct.
can save himself and earn his conscious immortality.
Correct. Earns is the conscious immortality. Hope cannot give the doer wisdom or knowledge. It cannot give anything, but it can dimly show the way to everything that is attained and to everything that fails. But the human must learn which is the way to failure and which is the way to knowledge, which is the way to knowledge, immortality, and wisdom. To the embodied doer, hope is a feeling. While the doer seeks sensation, hope must remain a feeling. To know hope, the human must follow it out of the senses and into the light of intelligence. See, that is important. To know the hope, the human must follow it out of the senses and into the light of intelligence.
Just hold the line. You continue, right?
Yeah.
I'll just wait.
Joyousness. Joyousness is the sparkling good spirits that flow out of a healthy disposition. This comes as the natural expression of good feeling and continued activities without intent to do wrong. It is characteristic of the youth of the doer, but the doer may carry its joyousness with its through ages of bitter experiences. It pours out like the full throated melody of the thrush, or enters into the feelings of others like the mimicry of the mockingbird, or rises out of itself like the songs of the skylark. It drives away gloom, melancholy, and dull care as sunshine melts mist and darkness away. So joyousness drives away gloom, melancholy, and dull care as sunshine melts mist and darkness away. Joyousness remains with the doer as long as the doer has no settled intent to harm anyone. The thing that shuts out joyousness is a malice. Feeling of hatred, envy, bitterness, or ill will drive joyousness away and keep it out. It should be a natural part of the disposition of the doer. And while it is kept in, it attracts elementals which are spirit, which are, what is the last sentence, which are sprightly. What is this?
Slightly,
SPR,
slightly.
sprightly. What is the, yeah,
Let
what's
us,
the meaning of it?
yeah, we'll just check that once. Right? Right, this is especially used about older people, full of energy and life. Sprightly is basically charged. Okay.
Full of energy. Yeah. So while it is kept, it attracts elementals which are sprightly, which, and graceful, well disposed, like fun, and carry life. They pour into the doer and keep up the wellspring of life. The age of the body is no bar to them, though they are chiefly attracted to youth. But young or old, it depends upon the doer, for joyousness is with the doer and is not a matter of the body. Correct. Because even older women, they keep that joy forever. Some women, I mean, whatever people, whoever is that positive attitude. Trust. Trust is a natural feeling of the doer that it can depend upon life, that it will not be harmed, that it can get along and find its way, that whatever the conditions are, it will be borne over them, that it will swim and not sink. Trust sometimes is an indication that the human is innocent without a wide experience, that he has not come out into contact with all phases of life. When trust that is due to innocence, when trust that is due to innocence is betrayed or fails, the human will show feelings of rancor, bitterness, gloom, doubt, and suspicion. On the other hand, trust may be an evidence that the doer has had a wide, deep, lasting experience and that it can be depended upon by other doers. The doer itself will show by its speech and actions whether the state of trust is due to innocence or is its character as a result of long experience. Eventually, the human learns that he can trust and that it is better to trust and that there is a law that works for betterment, even though he cannot quite understand it. This is one of the reasons for religious faith. Trust is a reward for duties well performed, for goodwill, generosity, and helpfulness. Trust is an expression of fundamental inclination to honesty. Even if this quality of trust seems at times out of place and without foundation, yet when the doer feels forsaken or cast down, it will bear it up and carry it along. The doer's periods of dejection, if any, will be very short and it will never entertain bitterness or doubt. There will be always an underlying feeling that there is something to rely on or something that is beyond vicissitudes and all changes, and that it is with the doer. Ease is a further development of trust. Only a developed doer can feel at ease in riches or in poverty, in sickness or in health. That is the Sita Prajna. Ease comes to a doer only after it has been the victor in many battles and difficulties and has learned their ways and how to live with them. Ease does not depend on easy circumstances, but the doer maintains its ease notwithstanding any outward conditions, favorable or adverse. Ease is a feeling of confidence that the doer will find its way through life and is a compensation for work well done in prior lives. So he balances everything, whatever whether is good or bad.
Don't you think he is giving us spiritual definitions for each of these words?
Correct. So these are all the divine, some of the divine qualities. Ease, trust.
Sleep.
Sleep. The fourth class of strictly psychic destiny relates to sleep and to the other states where the doer in the body is not in full control of the four senses because they're all sleeping. The thinker and knower are not concerned with the senses. So while sleeping, going to sleep is the withdrawal of the doer from directing the breath form. The breath form is the automaton and obeys the orders of nature and of the doer. The breath form is in the involuntary nervous system as a whole. The orders of a nature are given through the four senses and their systems to the involuntary nervous system. The breath form is in the involuntary nervous system as a whole. The orders of nature are given through the four senses and their systems to the involuntary nervous system. That's why, they're not working because in the sleep, the senses are not working. Each nerve has a sensory and a motor part. The order is given by nature to the breath form through the sensory part, and then the breath form, by means of the fourfold physical body, makes the motor part carry out to the order. This applies to all of the involuntary functions of the body. In sleep, the breath form causes all involuntary functions to continue, but there is no conscious feeling because the doer has withdrawn from the contact with the breath form. If a cold draught blows upon the uncovered body of the sleeper, it irritates the skin and affects the circulation. The irritation is conveyed by the sensory nerves through their connection to a sensory nucleus in the front half of the pituitary body, which is the seat of the breath form. The breath form from that center can make the motor nerves of the involuntary nervous system cause the body of the sleeper to turn away from the draught. The breath form is not aware of the draught. The movement is not made with any intelligence, nor is it made because of feeling. It is simply an impulse to protect the body against the irritation. Simply an impulse. The impulse comes from the nature, namely from the circulatory system, which registers like a thermometer the change in temperature, and the sensory nerves notify the breath form, which responds to the disturbances mechanically and automatically and turns the physical body. So it automatically turns the physical body.
No,
If
it's
the
just
doer
like
were
you are sleeping. Let us say you have a blanket on, but your foot has come outside the blanket.
without knowing, you pull, yeah.
Right. Now, the AC is on and the room temperature has gone way below what you have set. The body shifts the whole thing. You are not even aware. Right? The body will pull itself close. Right? You may probably pull your entire body, or you may even, without knowing that there is a blanket, try to search for a blanket. But the body is still asleep. The conscious mind is not.
So he says the breath form is disconnected from the voluntary nervous system.
Correct.
Because the senses are not working.
The senses are not associated, right? The impulse comes from nature, namely the circulatory system, or it can also be that it has become a habit. It's coming from your unconscious mind, not even your conscious mind, not even your subconscious mind. It is the body which is protecting itself. In this is also going to say that there are self-survival mechanisms built into every part that makes this body.
And also he says this pituitary senses
Correct.
what to do.
Yeah. So there is a automatic functioning of the portion of the body which is triggered by the systems inside and how they have been trained.
See, is amazing, this last one. The impulse comes from the nature, namely from the circulatory system, which registers like a thermometer the change in temperature, and the sensory nerves notify the breath form. The sensory nerves notify the breath form, which responds to the disturbance mechanically and automatically turns the physical body.
So breath form is not under your conscious mind at that stage.
Correct.
Hmm.
If the doer were present, the irritation would be felt. The doer would at once seize the cause and would by voluntary movements close the window or cover the body.
Hmm.
The time for sleep is announced to the doer when the senses lose their grip on their respective organs and the breath form has difficulty in coordinating the four senses.
Correct.
This happens when atoms notify their molecules, the molecules notify their cells, the cells notify their organs, the organs notify their systems and their senses, and the system and senses notify the breath form that they need a rest for the readjustment. This is like that picture.
Yeah.
Then the breath form produces yawning, a feeling of tiredness or a feeling of being run down. This is an automatic notification that it is time for sleep and rest becomes in the doer a feeling. The doer has the power to resist the feeling of sleepiness and to compel the breath form, the systems, to compel the breath form, the systems, organs, cells, molecules, and atoms to continue. It does this by commanding the general manager of the body, that is the breath form, and each governor in turn notifies the entities under him and in him. This shows the behavior of the breath form, which will obey the commands of the nature of the doer, whichever is the more imperative. Amazing how many things goes on so quickly, so fast.
And we don't even realize.
Yeah.
We are aware of the beginning and the end.
That's it.
Not the in between. Yeah.
When the doer has a feeling of approaching sleep, it withdraws more or less from its touch with the breath form. The rear half of the pituitary body is the nervous governing center contacted by the eye-ness of the knower. The front half is the seat of the breath form. What is this? The rear half of the pituitary body is the nervous governing center contacted by the eye-ness of the knower. The front half is the seat of the breath.
Basically, whether you are awake or not.
Identity. Okay. So back is the eye-ness of the knower. The front half.
Because he is touching the back, no?
Yeah. As long as the doer maintains its grip on the breath form, there can be no sleep. As soon as the doer lets go, sleep comes.
This happens, no? For example, we are listening to something and suddenly we fall asleep.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine that.
And also if you take some allergy tablet or Benadryl,
yeah.
Then while somebody is talking, you fall asleep.
I have seen this happen with my grandson. No, I mean, I've seen it, I've experienced it myself a number of times. He will keep watching, then he will lie down and watch. And then he will keep saying, who, and all, and suddenly he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as soon as the doer lets go, sleep comes. Sleep is a loosening of the doer from the body. During sleep, forces are at work to repair the damage sustained by the body. By the body during working hours, while it was driven by the double commands of nature and the doer. So it is the repair damage sustained by the body during the working hours, whatever happens. The forces can repair only when there is no interference by the doer.
This is perfect. Otherwise, that cycle is getting disturbed. Joe Dispenza
Yeah,
said,
it is like taking our car and putting it in the garage in somebody's,
yeah,
like Padri.
correct.
Then electrical currents stimulate and magnetic electrical currents stimulate and magnetic waves bathe the atoms, molecules, cells, organs, and systems. Waste is removed. Parts are properly related to each other, and the systems are keyed up. So many things are tuning up. Electrical currents stimulate and magnetic waves bathe the atoms, molecules, cells, organs, and systems. Waste is removed. Parts are properly related to each other, and the systems are keyed up. And the doer should be away while the bodily repairs are going on. The body, rested and refreshed, is ready for the senses to begin new activities. Sleep of the body has to do with the nature alone. When the doer withdraws, it lets go its contact with the both nervous systems. Then it is out of touch with the nature because it is out of touch with the four senses. It
Hmm.
cannot feel anything physical and cannot see, hear, taste, or smell. This is its condition in deep sleep. When the doer awakens, it does not remember. All that it may be bring back is an indistinct feeling of the nature of what it has gone through. The period of deep sleep may begin a few minutes after the doer has withdrawn from its touch with the pituitary body and continue until a few minutes before the awakening, or it may be intermittent during the night. So, period of deep sleep may begin a few minutes after the doer has withdrawn from its touch with the pituitary body and continue after a few minutes before the awakening. As soon as the repairs in the physical structure are made and the body is thereby rested, the senses notify the breath form of their readiness for activity.
Hmm.
Wow. When the body is restored and refreshed, the doer is attracted to it, re-enters its stations in the body, returns to the waking state, and suddenly or gradually becomes conscious of its feeling in the physical world and of the actions of the senses on its feelings.
So
This
just
is
try
the
to,
natural.
no. Just try to experience what he is saying. I will read it for you. As soon as the repairs in the physical structure are made and the body is thereby rested, the senses notify the breath form of their readiness for activity. When the body is restored and refreshed, it is the doer is attracted to it, re-enters its stations in the body, returns to the waking state, and suddenly or gradually becomes conscious of its feeling in the physical world and of the action of the senses on its feelings. Right? These two. So, what
Correct.
does it mean? Your pituitary gland is getting reactivated. And,
Connection. The
and
doer's
what is
connection.
feeding it? What is feeding it? What is the trigger? The feeding of the pituitary gland and other parts of the body is its response to the senses.
And see, here he says the doer connection to the pituitary happens before when the body is ready to waken up,
Correct.
awake.
So it is the senses which are controlling this, and response is to the environment, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to the circadian rhythm,
Mm.
we are responding to the sunlight.
Correct. That melatonin, serotonin.
Correct. Now, just link these together, the experience that we just went through, and the actual happening in the physical world.
Mm.
Don't you understand a lot by that? Because it took
Oh,
me
yeah.
a long time to realize how does the body clock keep adjusting itself. I go from India to the US, right?
Mm.
I take 3 to 4 days, call it jet lag and all that.
Yeah.
But when I started thinking deeper, where is this jet lag getting triggered from? This line explains. When the body is rested, it will automatically get up. Beautiful. This is the
See,
natural course of
it-
awakening. Beautifully stated.
so basically, when the doer re-enters the body, then it sends the signal for the senses to come back,
Yeah,
connect to the body.
exactly. And the
That
senses connecting back, the senses is nothing but the doer here.
yeah.
Doer
So
in
this
the
is the
body
natural.
is determined by the senses and its interface to the external world. Beautiful.
Yeah. However, a shock, the name being called, or a strong smell of something may summon the doer back to the awakening state suddenly. So, yeah, suddenly a shock. I mean,
Yeah,
somebody calling your name loudly or waking you up or a sudden sound, yeah, something, that causes the doer to come back immediately.
correct. I think
Dreams, night.
shall we stop here? Because this dreams topic is about 4 pages, 5 pages. It will be very long. We will not be able to do justice. We'll
Yeah,
better
it's
stop here.
half an hour away, but we are on half an hour away.
Yeah, no, in half an hour we won't be able to complete. Well, this whole
Okay.
thing we should dedicate time. It's very, very important.
What is this? Can we read obsessions in dreams in deep sleep? I don't know. What is this obsessions in deep sleep?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I'm reading this. Dreams, okay, dreams, nightmares, obsessions in deep sleep. Dreams occur during the time when the doer is withdrawing from the four senses into the state of deep sleep, and during the time when the doer is returning from the deep sleep to its connection with these four senses. Dreams may or may not occur. If they occur, they may or may not be remembered. When they are remembered, the record may be accurate or imperfect. The doer dreams while it is in connection with the nerve centers of seeing, hearing, tasting, and smelling, and their and their areas in the brain. What is this? The doer dreams while it is in connection with the nerve centers of seeing, hearing, tasting, and smelling, and their areas in the brain. Even though it's not connected to the senses, it is in connection with the nerve centers.
Hmm.
Most dreams have to do with the seeing. While dreaming, the doer does not go away from the body.
See,
Dreams of
these are
places.
your internal indriyas,
Uh-huh.
not the external senses, but the internal.
This is before deep sleep. Doer dream the Okay, most dreams have to do with the seeing. While dreaming, the doer does not go away from the body. Dreams of places or persons, near or distant, they occur in the body, nowhere else. So,
Hmm,
what does he mean? Doer does not go away from the body while dreaming. That means only in deep sleep he goes away.
correct.
So dreams begin when the doer has let go the hold it has through the breath form on the physical plane and abandons the organs of the four senses, but still lingers in the areas of the optic, auric, gustatory, and olfactory nerves and remains through the breath form in touch with the areas and sees, hears, tastes, and smells and contacts by means. So,
So, what is
yeah.
it mean? He is, your physical senses are out of picture.
Yeah, but mind is connected in the
The
dreaming.
mind will remain connected. No, that is why you are able to see all those things.
Yeah, physical senses are not there, but the mind works. Through the mind, it connects to the nerve centers.
Hmm.
So dreams are usually connected with seeing, sometimes, but rarely. People hear in dreams. They hardly ever taste or smell and hardly ever dream of touching anything or of feeling warm or cold. The reason is that the organs and nerves of sight and hearing are more developed than those of taste and smell, and that there is no special organ for feeling because feeling is an aspect of the doer, not a part of nature.
Hmm.
Oh, so because only the sight and hearing are more developed than those of the taste and smell. That is the reason we don't taste and smell in the dream. The sense of sight is a fire elemental, and when the doer is in the dream state, this elemental brings before the doer the picture it has recorded in the waking state on the same day or years before. So, whatever is in the mind, it comes back. It brings into the dream state.
Ah, and when the doer is in the dream state, this elemental brings before the doer. Ah, okay.
Okay. The
Hmm.
sense of sight is fire elemental. That is the only one mainly, it works. And when the doer is in the dream state, this elemental brings before the doer the picture it has recorded in the waking state on the same day or years before. The pictures may be alive and move and so form actions or events. It's like a movie.
Hmm.
Uh, if the pictures are of a distant past, they usually represent the events as they were. But if they are of recent events or are caused by physiological disturbances, they may be distorted.
Hmm.
So it is like different frames, either continuous frames or discontinuous frames of pictures.
It can be both.
Yes. Uh,
It can be both.
yeah, it can be both. The pictures brought up depend upon coincidence of the cycles of thought.
Hmm.
Whether the pictures are vivid or
You continue,
distinct
I'll just
depends
something else happened.
whether the pictures are vivid or indistinct depends upon the closeness of contact between the doer and the nerve centers and the ability of the senses to register the picture. The picture or sounds may be produced by many causes. One of these is the interest of the dreamer in continuing the activities of the day or of some pastime. Hope, expectation, anxiety, and fear make up the dream and give it its direction. Another cause may be something that others think about the dreamer, which reaches him and coincides with one of the cycles of his own thoughts. This is interesting. See, the causes of the dreams, he's saying. One of these is the interest of the dreamer in continuing the activities of the day or of the pastime. Next one is hope, expectation, anxiety, and fear. They make up the dream and gives its direction.
Mm.
Another cause is something that others think about the dreamer, which reaches him and coincides with one of the cycles of his own thoughts. If somebody of my close friend or my family member thinks of me constantly, that if that coincides me, I get a dream.
That means you are also thinking of them, that connection is established. See, this explains what Bob Proctor keeps telling us. If you want to manifest something, first you
Uh,
vibrate at the rate of the vibration of that particular entity. The entity could be some object lying in somewhere in the universe, right? So you have established connection.
or a person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whichever it is. You have established the
Correct.
connection. Now you need to strengthen your feel for it to attract it.
Correct.
Okay.
Or his own mental nature reason, they may cause a dream to give him a warning as to his conduct.
Hmm.
Sometimes elementals show him pictures which have become destiny or waiting. They are waiting at the threshold of the physical plane and will appear there as the burning of a house, the sinking of a ship, the death of a person, the finding of some article.
Hmm.
So the elementals show him pictures which have become destiny. So the whatever is going to happen,
Yes.
there can be physical causes due to physiological disturbances like indigestion, pressure of some object upon the sleeping body, the slamming or rattling of a door, cold air striking the body, or a pain.
Hmm.
Another cause may be the presence of astral entities which prey upon the vitality of the sleeper. Oh,
Hmm.
this also causes. There are a few
This
of
is
those
the
other
mediumship.
causes that.
No, we read about it in the mediumship. There are
Correct.
other bodies in the environment who are waiting. ये बकरा कब
To
मिलेगा?
get into the sleeper. Okay. There are few of the causes that produce dreams. The way in which pictures and sounds, and in rare cases, taste and odors are produced vary. One way is that a thought present or past held in the waking state is followed by the elemental servings as the sense in the body. When sleep comes, the fire elemental serving as a sight, for example, follows the thought and gathers the picture or matter from the four elements taken from the fourfold body of the dreamer. Sometimes also material of part of the dream is furnished by the bodies of persons concerned in the dream or by elementals not one's own. When the bodies of other persons are a part of the picture, these bodies remain where they are, and when distant places are seen, they are not brought near, nor does the dreamer go to them. The reason persons and places, though distant, can be seen in the dreams is that the barriers of what is called distance disappear and leave the vision or hearing unobstructed or clairvoyant clairaudient.
Body.
So that is not there in the sleep. That is
Correct.
why past or future things also we see are distant also. The elementals of sight or hearing producing the dream work and adjust all this material into a present harmonious acting picture of near or distant scenes or events.
Hmm.
The elementals of sight or hearing produce them. So it's like a movie production happens.
Correct.
The subjects of dreams may be of any activities the dreamer has had or thought of in the waking state. It may be that the dreamer lives through scenes entirely foreign to any experience in his life or anything he has read or thought of. In this case, he sees something that has happened, is going on, or will happen in a distant place, or the scene and the dream experience may be from a past life.
Hmm.
This is unusual and happens only when the cycles of his past thoughts coincide with his thoughts and conditions of the present. See, that is what. Whatever past thoughts coincide with his present thoughts, then the dream happens.
Hmm.
Dreams are usually confused, topsy-turvy, and indistinct. There is no consecutiveness or any connection between one scene and another. It is rare that one related series of events is followed through one dream, where the sky is blue, the objects clear in color and outline, where the water shimmers and sparkles and the boats rise and fall on it, where the things done follow each other for a purpose and the persons seem real. The reason for this is that the thoughts of the dreamer in the waking state were nearly as disconnected and distinct as in the dream. See, that is it. The clear and distinct dreamer is the clear and distinct observer and thinker.
Hmm.
See, whatever happens in the waking state, that is, we are bringing back into the dream state.
Hmm.
The subject must be fixed on the breath form by clear thinking, and then it may be followed night after night. So, to get a clear dream, this is what to do this. Yeah, in the dream state, let me read this. In this way, he may consider, let us go one more line up. I think I missed one here. It is possible to make dreaming a means of learning. One may carry a subject of thought from the waking into the dream state and consider it in that state. In this way, he may consider the subject from two states in which he is conscious. In the dream state, many of the obstacles of the waking state are absent. To do this, one must charge his breath form to bring up the subject for consideration at a certain time during sleep.
Hmm.
The subject must be fixed on the breath form by clear thinking, and then it may be followed night after night. The main thing is to be clearly conscious, not drowsily, but fully both in the waking and in the dreaming state. In passing from the waking to the dream state, there is a period of darkness, forgetfulness, in which the sleeper is unconscious. It is best not to continue the waking thought into the first part of the night, but to instruct the breath form to call the doer from the deep sleep into the dream state and to present to the doer the subject of thought when the physical body has rested and is refreshed.
Hmm.
It should be impressed. So this is he's explaining how to get the clear dreams.
Correct.
Rested upon the breath form that the doer, it should be impressed upon the breath form that the doer should be fully conscious of the subject and of the dream.
Okay, just hold the line.
Yeah.
Suppose you are concentrating on defining or identifying a solution to a problem.
So keep thinking that before going to sleep and
Is
go
this
and give
not
the
what you are doing? Just think about it, just read it again.
one make
Doing when
okay.
you are consciously applying your mind to a particular point, are you to
He
make
says we have
training a means
a
of learning? Are you not doing it? Suppose you have a problem, you have got 4 or 5 bits of pieces of information. You want to make a meaning out of it. Is this not exactly what you do?
That is how scientists, because they keep thinking the same problem over and over, they get the answers in their dreams.
So put that as a frame while you are reading this. Okay, now read it again. So you are now analyzing by concentrating. Okay,
Mm,
you have got bits and pieces. Just put that thought, because all your dream pictures are bits and pieces.
correct.
Now you reread this. One may carry a subject of thought from the waking into dream state and consider it in that state. In this way, he may consider this subject from two states in which he is conscious. He is conscious in his dream. He is conscious when he picked up the information. In the dream state, many of the obstacles of the waking state are absent. So all the noise elements are eliminated.
The
Correct?
reason is mind, because logic mind is not there.
Correct. To do this, one must change his breath form to bring up the
Charge.
subject for consideration at a certain time during sleep. The subject
So
must
to do, one must charge his breath form. That means we need to take certain number of breaths. That is what in karma, in one of the karma to get, that they say 36 breaths.
that you are doing only to stabilize the breathing pattern.
But here charging means how do we charge? He says charge the breath form.
Where is it changing?
You
One
see,
must
to
charge
do
his breath form,
charge his
not his breath. You are talking about
breath.
breathing. I am talking about breath form. Give
How do we
clarity
do that?
to the shape of what you are thinking.
Oh,
In the
okay.
dreams, right? To do this, one
Okay.
must charge his breath form to bring up the subject
For
for
consideration. Okay.
consideration at a certain
Yeah.
time during sleep. When is that time? Not when he is awake. He should be able to bring it, right? The subject must be fixed on the breath form by clear thinking. That means the shape should be consistent and his breathing should be in a very rhythmic pattern. Yeah.
By clear thinking, and then it may be followed night after night.
That means every day that is the same thing. It is just like your conscious thinking. You go close your eyes and sit and think about. Now, I keep doing thinking about how do I represent a paragraph that I have read into a pictorial form.
Correct.
Okay. Now, because my presentation has to bring out all the depth, and the other
Correct.
person has to understand what I am talking. So how do I do it? Right? So I bring it, and whenever I come and sit at the desk, that is the picture that appears to me. Okay. So the subject must be fixed, right? The main thing is to be clearly conscious, not drowsily, but fully. But in the waking and in the dream state. That means whether you are in the waking state or in the dream state.
No, both.
Yeah,
Both in the waking.
that means you carry this to your sleep and you bring back that to your waking state. In passing from the waking to the dream state, there is a period of darkness, forgetfulness, in which the sleeper is unconscious, right? It is best not to continue the waking thought into the first part of the night, because you are still not in deep sleep. But to instruct the breath form to call the doer from the deep sleep into the dream state. Call him from the deep sleep, don't call him from the wakeful state. And to present to the doer the subject of thought when the physical body has rested and is refreshed. It should be impressed upon the breath form that the doer should be fully conscious of the subject and of the dream. So now assume that you have had a sleep of 2 hours. You get up in between. Okay. At that time, you try to fall asleep thinking about this. That means you have finished your first round of sleep, you are in the second round of sleep. At that time, if you do this, continue reading.
That's why early morning, before going into deep sleep, if you say a command into your conscious, subconscious mind, that is how you wake up. It's a, suppose if you keep thinking I need to get up at certain time to go on a journey. Whether the alarm clock rings or not, but now you're because you keep thinking about that, you wake up.
Correct.
One can also learn to be conscious in the dream state that he is dreaming. So that is the vivid dreaming, isn't it?
Yeah.
In fact, the waking state is a dream, but the doer is not conscious that it is a dream. Correct. Of course, this is all illusion, like waking state also is a dream.
See,
in reality.
Waking state is a dream as long as you are able to define and identify your thought process without letting anything else come and disturb.
Being in that present moment.
Correct.
Different from the learning which the dreamer continues from his waking activities when the breath form calls him at his request is the instruction which he gets at times from his non-embodied doer portion. This I need to read this thing. Different from the learning which the dreamer continues from his waking activities when the breath form calls him at his request is the instruction which he gets at times from his non-embodied doer portions. Got it?
Which is your not Annamaya Kosha, but the other koshas. Because they
So
are
it
not
goes.
embodied, no? Your Pranamaya Kosha is not embodied. Your Manomaya Kosha is not embodied.
Yeah.
Right. And they are all the environments in which you are surrounded. One of them is your higher self.
See, that is why when we give the instructions to the non-embodied portions, then we get it in our dream. That's what he's saying.
Correct.
Men do not recognize of the doer while they are awake, nor do they pay much attention to what happens. Therefore, the doer sometimes uses a dream because that is an unusual thing to call attention to some fact. This warning, instruction, or illumination may be given by symbol or as the sense of or the sense elementals. What is this? No. Where do this warning, instruction, or illumination may be given by symbol or as a vision or a phrase. The person will or should know the meaning for him. Correct. Because sometimes, you see a car accident or some, but you don't know, what signifies it.
Correct.
Nightmares are an unusual phases of dreams. They may be due to the physical causes already mentioned, which interfere with digestion, circulation, or respiration. A late supper may cause congestion of some organs, pressure on the nerves, which suggests to the sense elementals a cause for the pressure, which the elementals then show to the dreamer distorted and exaggerated. So
Hmm.
that pressure on the organs causes the nightmares, he says.
Yeah.
So we can stop it.
Correct.
It's all past night. Okay. They may be due to the pressure of the nerves, which suggests to the sense elemental as causes for the pressure, which the elementals then show to the dreamer distorted or exaggerated. The cause seen or felt in the dream may be some animal, but the picture of it is a hallucination. On the other hand, nightmares may also be due to the actual entities trying to obsess the sleeper as a pig astride the stomach or
A crab or
or
spider clawing
spider,
the
crab
abdomen. Hmm.
the abdomen, or a demon gripping the throat, or a creature in animal or a human shape at the sex. Such entities may be evil disposed elementals or mixtures of elementals and disembodied entities. These entities attack humans to obtain their vital force, for by means of it they can prolong their own existence. They can approach a person in sleep when his thoughts in the waking state were about sexual practices and so tempered his psychic and physical atmospheres that such beings could approach through them.
Hmm.
One of the worst phases of psychic destiny connected with the dreams is the creation of an incubus or a succubus or obsession by one created by another person. Such phases are fortunately unusual in modern times. An incubus is a male created by a woman. A succubus is a female created by a man. These creatures are created by a person having no sexual intercourse but thinking, while the sex force accumulates about a form of the opposite sex which has he features and traits most desired. The thought is built into a form by elementals, and in time it appears to the person in a dream. Then or later, the person has intercourse in dream with the form. The appearance and relation continues until there is a definite presence at night. Every human has two sides. The female side is suppressed in the man, and the male side is suppressed in the woman. Let us stop it.
Yeah.
Stop. Want to stop the recording?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
We'll have to